Absent presence, juxtaposition of spatial encounters. The project is grounded through my ERA dissertation and last semester's urban strategy. Through the urban strategy, I started to explore how we encounter, make sense of, and embrace juxtaposition. In the ERA dissertation, this was grounded in the idea of rural economic migrants shifting to the urban and how they meet with those residents of urban areas, but also how those urban areas meet with and embrace those moved to the rural. Understanding how integration and belonging of these individuals were facilitated in an economically, environmentally, and socially challenged context. This project allows for the continued exploration of this and the understanding of spatial implications and how juxtaposition can be used to integrate rural economic migrants. The project responds to the challenges faced by rural economic migrants shifting to the urban through the act of making, specifically making of compressed stabilized earth bricks, CSEB, using brick making as an enabler for co-creation and shared activity, promoting the collaboration between the rural newcomers and urban residents, supporting the integration of new individuals into Tuti Island and the remaking of themselves in a new context, while using juxtaposition to foster a sense of belonging within the community. Through local, global, modern, traditional, light, dark, static, dynamic, internal, external, existing, new, with an overall absent presence, which reflects on revealing what can appear when something is not there. The project has used layering as a methodology of exploration to explore relations between facets, whether site constraint, conditions, and activity, testing through collaging and overlaying to reveal absence-presence between spaces and activity, revealing relations of juxtaposition through what is exposed from the absent or shift of other components, to then represent spaces through layered relations between internal and external factors. The proposition is situated on the east side of Tuti Island. It was chosen for its openness, community activity, and existing conditions. The situation of the proposition supports the integration of newcomers through community integration and connection to the water's edge, which supports the well-being of individuals as well as the brick-making process within the proposition. The building is situated amongst existing dwellings, a community node, and the Blue Nile, which has all been integrated through the building's process and response. The project responds to two ordering systems, the local and global, or internal, external, what is here and what is there, using the existing and cardinal orientations to develop a building form, reflecting the existing urban fabric while also juxtaposing it, using the site's conditions as a means to reflect the workings and foundations of the building form and arrangements, using the existing dwellings as the means for privacy, the community node for public, the Blue Nile for practicality, and maintaining the access through the proposition, creating zones of production, community, and education through the orientations and regions of public and private. Community and education aligned adjacent to the community node, with production aligned against the existing dwellings, and an amalgamation of all three in the centre through a community lounge and pottery workshop, following these strong cardinal and existing lines to reflect adjacency to other facets of the building, such as the working corridor parallel to the working courtyard. The project forms three courtyards: working courtyard, community courtyard, and the service courtyard, conveying the different uses of the courtyard through Tuti Island and wider Sudan, whether in dwellings or public buildings. The working courtyard is situated in and on the access point, with the production stages juxtaposed around the courtyard, overlaying the different processes to create a space of activity and collaboration amongst the workers. The production of CSEB starts with the collection of the silt around the island's perimeter for a replenishable supply of earth through a digger or truck saw and brought into the proposition for storage. Here it is sieved and then mixed with the requested stabilizer, cement or lime. Once the mixture is ready, the bricks are compressed to size and ready for drying. Once completely dried, in 3 to 4 weeks, the bricks are put into storage, ready for use. The drying of the brick is completed through the proposition's exterior wall, which comprises of a permanent and temporary element, the permanent being custom-sized terracotta blocks and the impermanent being the drying mud bricks. The bricks are initially placed in the surface courtyard, which is the immediate connection to the water's edge and working courtyard, where they are cured for a week to prevent cracking, then shifted from the surface courtyard wall to the remainder of the building's exterior wall. Here is where the bricks change in colour as they dry, changing the reflection and colour intensity on the shadow, echoing the dynamic change around the building proposition amongst the static structure, with a juxtaposition of permanence and impermanence in the external facade. Depending on the time of year, the types of soil used in these bricks will change. During high season, where the blue Nile is dominant, red sandstone earth will be collected, where in low season, the white Nile is dominant and black cotton earth will be collected. The variation will reflect the high and low season of the island to the newcomers and Tuti residents. The community courtyard is connected adjacent to the community node and the community lounge, a semi-public courtyard to intertwine the rural migrants and existing urban dwellers in an open but secluded environment. Moving up the building, the first floor follows existing and cardinal lines from the ground floor, juxtaposing the intentions of the working courtyard and access corridors, forming a corridor overlooking the working courtyard with education and community spaces to promote integration, a third space which intersects the different processes and uses of mud in all parts of Sudan, told through the lens of the rural newcomers, explored further in the laboratory and seen through community exhibition. The first floor has embedded scaffolding in its facade as a response to the annual flooding and rainfall that occurs on the island. When this occurs, the mud bricks begin to decay, and each year the rural migrants and Tuti residents come together to repair the building facade through reclaying, forming an extended ritual of the tire system while enhancing the collaboration of the new and old residents of Tuti Island. Then, through several years of repair, the building will become fully rendered, reflecting the different periods of repairing it has occurred through the people of Tuti Island. The internal spaces of the proposition have flat roofs with respect to the surrounding dwellings. Juxtaposed to this is the canopy of the working courtyard, a timber archway covered in local cotton linen. The juxtaposition becomes a beacon for newcomers on the island, acting as a visual guide towards the proposition. Similarly to the reclaying of the building, the linen will decay over time through weathering. The people will gather and repair the linen, healing from the rainfall. The excess space formed on the flat roof is used for drying of other mud bricks, those of different shapes, for exposing the building workers to the surrounding context. Thanks for listening.